because we are obliterating that country. And I hate to do it, but we're obliterating, and they just don't want to say uncle. They don't want to cry, as the expression goes, uncle, but they will. And if they don't, they'll have no bridges, they'll have no power plants, they'll have no anything. If I had my choice, what would I like to do? Take the oil, because it's there for the taking. There's not a thing they can do about it.
This morning, President Donald Trump decided to double down on the profane Easter morning threat that he put out against Iran, threatening Iran's civilian infrastructure if the Iranians refuse to open the Strait of Hormuz. Now, before I give you the details on that and more, Cenk, your 2 cents.
Yeah, so it is an act of complete desperation by Donald Trump to do all of this. Oh my God, please reopen the strait. And literally nothing he says is true. So we're gonna give you all of his nonsense comments and the reality, and then talk about, what are the consequences of this?
So let's begin with what President Donald Trump decided to put out on Easter morning. He issued this threat to Iran, saying that Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing strait, and he actually used the word, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. Now, targeting civilian infrastructure flies in the face of international law. It's basically committing war crimes. But we are now, unfortunately, in a new era where war crimes aren't even a thing. And so if this is the kind of conduct that the United States and Israel thinks is okay when they're carrying it out, then Israel in particular needs to stop whining when war crimes are committed against them. Just saying that. Okay, now moving on, let's get to some of Trump's prior statements. So prior to Trump's threats, US-Israeli strikes severely damaged Iran's B1 bridge in Karaj and a petrochemical facility in Mashahar was also targeted. Now, just today, we got more notification about yet another petrochemical plant or facility that was targeted by the Israelis. We'll get to that in just a minute. But in late March, the Iranian Red Crescent Society reported that more than 82,000 civilian structures had been damaged by US-Israeli bombardments, including 62,000 homes, 498 schools, and 281 medical centers, hospitals, and pharmacies. Additionally, 17 Red Crescent bases and 94 ambulances and rescue vehicles have also been damaged. So I don't want anyone to make the mistake of thinking that the targeting of civilian infrastructure in Iran hadn't happened until now. No, it's been happening throughout the entirety of this incredibly short-sighted and stupid war. CNN also confirmed the targeting of vital civilian infrastructure through its own forensic analysis using videos and satellite imagery. One example cited in CNN's reporting was the use of a 2,000-pound bomb to target Iran's IRIB TV station, which is only 100 feet away from the Gandhi hospital. Quote, these bombs used by both the US and Israel are capable of killing or wounding people more than 1,000 feet away, according to CNN's reporting. So Iran's civilian infrastructure, again, was already being targeted. What Trump and the Israelis are doing now is just a continuation of more of the war crimes that have already been committed. Now, Israel's foreign defense minister Israel Katz announced today that the IDF forcefully struck Iran's largest petrochemical plant. This key facility accounts for about 50% of Iran's petrochemical output. This follows an attack on Iran's second largest facility last week. That's the facility I was referring to earlier. As a result, both facilities, which together account for 85% of Iran's petrochemical production, are now out of operation. This represents a multi-billion-dollar economic blow, he says, to the Iranian regime, but make no mistake about it, it creates a massive blow to the global oil markets, which we all suffer from. So thank you to Israel, the actual terrorist state in this entire situation. Cenk, back to you.
Yeah, so this is what I'm more worried about, the Israelification of our policies, because in America, we don't hit schools and hospitals, or we didn't used to.
At least not overtly.
Yeah, And now we're doing what Israel does, destroying. I mean, look at that: 498 schools, 281 medical centers. What are we doing? I don't know what percentage of that is us and what percentage is Israel. Israel thinks that it's allowed to do terrorism, and it's enabled by our mainstream media here in this country that has this now two different standards. So if a Muslim country does it, they're goddamn terrorists who can't believe they're targeting civilians, murder them all, right? If Israel does it, they're like, oh no, that's now, they've invented a new word, we'll talk more about it later, dual use, okay? So a bridge or a medical building or a school could have dual use. So we're allowed to be terrorists? No, we're not. This is all invented and made up. And if you notice what Anna just told you, we hit a TV station and like it was normal.
We dropped a 2,000-pound bomb on a TV station. Yeah.
And Trey Yingst reporting we're using bunker busters in Iran, okay? So those are gigantic bombs. So wait, is it now okay for Iran to hit CNN or New York Times or ABC? My guess is if they did, we would all call them terrorists. In fact, my guess is the people at CNN would scream at the top of their lungs about terrorism. Yet we hit their TV stations, kill civilians, nary a mention, right? Like you could barely hear anything about the invasion of Lebanon from Israel on television, on cable news, or terrorism. You hear almost nothing about it on cable news. I mean, you gotta remember, TV is not news, it's propaganda. It's poison for your brain. Turn it off. Now I'm gonna tell you about someone that is a partner of ours that our audience loves. If you know me, I'm always out of time. When I need a fresh meal that's delicious and nutritious, my go-to is Cook Unity. Cook Unity is a chef-crafted meal straight to your door. I recently tried jerk chicken rasta pasta in my last order. Why did I pick that one? Because the name sounded fun. And it turned out it was delicious. That
sounds fun.
So it's high protein, it gave me the energy I needed to finish the day strong, and I like to finish the day strong. These aren't boring, repetitive meals, I've done a lot of them. These are all-star chefs, Food Network alums, and James Beard winners, which I found out is a good thing. Almost like James Beard, no, I'm just kidding. You're handpicking seasonal ingredients and balancing bold flavors with nutrition, which I need. There are over 25 diets and cuisines to choose from to satisfy your cravings and wellness goals. Commitment-free subscription starts as low as $11 a meal. That's like half a sandwich in LA, and you get a delicious award-winning meal. So skip deliveries, pause, or cancel anytime. Taste craftsmanship in every bite from the award-winning chefs behind Cook Unity. Go to cookunity.com/TYT or enter code TYT before checkout to get 50% off your first order. That's 50% off your first order by using code TYT or going to cookunity.com/TYT. Okay, so now the Trump statement there. I mean, you want to talk about projection? You crazy bastards. Who's the crazy bastard? I mean, the guy's screaming, open the effing straits! And he sounds like a spoiled child. Like who screams into the abyss, open the effing straits? Like if you already have power and leverage, you don't need to act like that. And do you think acting like that is gonna get you what you want? But he's been trained his whole life to be spoiled.
100%.
But it's not gonna work when you're in a war with a different country. And then he says, you'll be living in hell. Brother, we're living in hell. The gas in LA is up to $6.50. $6.50, headed to $8. Okay, we'll cover that later in the show. Make sure you check out that video. So, and now he says that Tuesday is power plant day and bridge day. I remember when we had a more innocent time in this country when Tuesday was Taco Tuesday, okay?
Yeah, look, I need everyone to understand. Every time Israel, every time Israel and the United States target civilian infrastructure in Iran, Iran retaliates in kind. So whether it's water desalination plants, whether it's these petrochemical facilities, Iran is going to respond and retaliate in kind. Now, one of the ways that they've been retaliating is by striking some of the infrastructure in these Gulf countries. Think about Saudi Arabia and how reliant Saudi Arabia is on water desalination, considering the fact that it's Saudi Arabia. They don't have access to clean drinking water, or at least not as much as other parts of the world. And so if Iran decides to strike the desalination plants in Saudi Arabia is done. Saudi Arabia is done. These, Gulf countries, are done. If Iran decides that, you know what, we're going to intensify our attacks against them and we're going to go after their critical infrastructure. So what Trump and the Israelis are doing here is incredibly dangerous for many countries, not just Iran, but nonetheless, I mean, they don't learn their lesson. And every time Iran retaliates, they whine and they cry about, oh, Iran is attacking our civilian infrastructure. Yeah, they're retaliating. How about you guys stop attacking their civilian infrastructure? But they're not going to. This is actually their whole blueprint. This is their plan, which we'll get to in a little bit on the show.
Yeah, so along those lines, first of all, if you notice, Iran counter strikes.
Yes.
They don't strike first. That is incredibly important. By the way, are the neocons that are the cable news anchors in this country noting that?
No, of course
no,
not.
They're making it seem like Iran is the devil, right? But look, I don't want any of our guys getting hurt at all. That's why we shouldn't be in this war. But our job is to be honest with you guys and bring you the real news. Iran only retaliates in the same exact way that we have bombed them. So if they were the aggressors, that wouldn't be the case. They'd be hitting the Israeli and Gulf infrastructure before we hit them. But so far, they have not done that at all. So we are clearly the aggressors. We are the ones that started this war. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it, and we are the ones escalating throughout. All right, now obviously.
Can I add one more thing to that, guys? Look, what was the first thing Israel did mere days after the US attacked Iran? They invaded Lebanon. At the same time, Israel has made it abundantly clear that they will not put IDF boots on the ground in Iran. Now, why is that? Because they have the United States dutifully fighting its war for them against Iran, freeing the Israelis up to engage in land annexation in Lebanon. And they have announced, yeah, we're gonna annex southern Lebanon. There's nothing you can do about it. So what we are doing is using our soldiers, using our hard-earned taxpayer dollars, or actually I should be more specific. We are going into more debt as a nation to fight Israel's war for them in Iran so they can expand their empire. That is what's happening right now.
Yeah, we're enabling and financing the terrorism of Israel, and our troops are a distraction and a diversion while they take southern Lebanon. But it gets worse. So if we hit Iran's energy facilities, the power plants, et cetera, and we've already started with hitting the petrochemical plants, and Iran retaliates by hitting the ones in the Gulf. Why are they hitting the Gulf and not Israel as much? Because Israel has Iron Dome and the Gulf doesn't. So the Gulf leaders are a bunch of idiots who made a deal with Israel thinking, oh, we'll be safe if we do. No, exact opposite. Since it's very hard to hit Israel, they're like, well, the leverage that Iran has is oil prices, global oil prices. So you're gonna hit our oil, we'll hit your oil. And by the way, guys, now oil is going to, if Trump follows through on that threat tomorrow, oil will be catastrophically high prices. So get ready, and every time you go to the pump and you pay that extra money, remember, Israel robbed you of that money. Now you're thinking, wait, are you sure that it's all Israel, etc.? Now let me tell you the last part of it, which it will make your blood boil. Part of the reason Israel wants to hit all the energy plants in Iran is so that Iran counterstrikes. But why would that help Israel? Because Israel has a giant gas field called Leviathan that they have just opened. And Netanyahu's all over the air saying, hey, don't worry, guys, you can now buy energy from us.
Cool, Iran should strike it.
Yeah, well, if they can.
I'm gonna be clear. I mean, look, I know that there's like significant censorship in Israel, but there are some military experts who are in the know about what's going on the ground in Israel, and more of Iran's missiles are getting through.
Yeah, so look, they're playing a super dangerous game, both for Israel and then obviously in region and the whole world, because as we're gonna tell you later in the show, the oil prices, if you think they're bad in America, oh my God, they're horrific in other places. Israel is going to melt down the entire global economy.
They already have, Cenk.
Right.
They already have. They're a cancer in this country, in this world, on this globe. Everything that they do is at the detriment of every other country on this planet. It's all about them, and they will do anything it takes to destroy the economic well-being and the sovereignty of any country if they see them as a threat, if they see them as real competition when it comes to their economic goals. That's what Israel is.
And now, guys, the super dangerous part is that before, Israel did not have internal energy source. So now that they have Leviathan, they feel that they don't have to import energy anymore, so they feel safe. The rest of the world can burn, but they have enough. Plus, they export it and make extra money. So the higher that energy prices are, Israel views it as a huge win for them. That is why what Anna's saying in this particular context is literal. The more the rest of the world is in pain, the bigger advantage Israel thinks they have for themselves. That way we get to take southern Lebanon, we get to destroy Iran's military so that there are no regional competitors of ours. We destroy everyone's energy facilities so that we're the only ones left with Leviathan. And
they can, they can charge whatever they want. I mean, considering the fact that there's going to be less oil and gas supply thanks to the war that they've been pushing for and succeeded in getting the United States to carry out.
Now, have you seen any of this in mainstream media?
Of course not.
Have you seen a discussion of Leviathan and how Netanyahu's bragging about they're going to be the only alternative left? You haven't seen any of it, right? Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird, as you'll see later in the program, more and more of this, that when when any of Israel's neighbors defend themselves, they're called terrorists and they can't believe they hit any civilians at all. When Israel hits civilians, they go, oh, no, all of a sudden that's dual use and totally fine, and that's not terrorism. And yet they pretend to be objective? No, our mainstream media is the least objective thing in the world. In fact, they invented the idea, and this was a brilliant piece of propaganda, that they're the ones who are objective to cover up their bias.
Right.
It's amazing, brilliant, well done until now. You're caught, and this is all a mask off moment for everyone in national media who's still covering this as if Israel is the victim, when in reality, Israel is clearly the aggressor and destroying the Middle East and now doing massive damage to the world.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.